Hey, what's up guys? Everything Apple Pro here, and yes, yet another Apple news video so soon. There's a lot going on. Well, with the imminent launch of the iPhone 9 here, we've got more details on that. The actual release date, iOS 13.4.5, Developer Beta 1 has been released. So let's talk about that, what's new inside, and some leaks spilled from that. A number of new Apple product leaks, some iPhone 12 news, and some Max Weinbach exclusives. And I'd like to mention the S20 Ultra giveaway is still on for the unclaimed one. If you'd like a chance to win that, in the description down below. So starting with the iPhone 9, John Prosser of Front Page Tech has posted that Apple has held some internal meetings, and they've tentatively decided on April 15th being the launch date or the announcement date. So it's very likely on the website, Apple will drop a press release. They'll announce the new iPhone. It's rumored to be called just iPhone. I'm calling it iPhone 9 here for easier identification. He does mention we're in the middle of a pandemic, so these dates could change, but mid-April, April 15th, expect a launch. Max Weinbach corroborates this report, saying we'll be seeing an iPhone SE 2 launch on the calendar week 16, which about perfectly falls into that April 15th date. And Steve Moser mentions that the only visual difference from the iPhone 8 to the iPhone 9 will be the centered Apple logo. So he confirms that. It's good to know that Apple will make the entire lineup even here. Otherwise, same design, and the colors will be silver, space gray, and red. Okay, so there have been reports that iOS 13.4 would be launching imminently from the verifier, but today we got iOS 13.4.5 Beta 1. It's strange that Apple jumped so many numbers, but what's likely happening here is Apple has internally been working on a number of fixes, and they came to 13.4.5, so that's what they're launching. The last time they did this was from 11.2.2 to 11.2.5, and this likely incorporates that VPN fix, but Apple will still likely launch iOS 13.4.1 here within the next few days, possibly by end of week. So what's new inside? iOS 13.4.5 makes it easy to share your Apple Music to either Instagram or Facebook stories, and the story of how that started is quite interesting. Apparently Apple is paying more attention to the younger crowd, people that listen to music, and hopefully they'll do this with many other features. But it's now possible to click share and then select Instagram or Facebook on a song in Apple Music, and then you'll get a very nice visual guide in Instagram with a nice blurred background, and it does shift, so it has a very similar effect to lyrics. I like that a lot. And going forward, I wonder how this could influence Apple's decisions in iOS 14 about which features to add, as this one could directly make them more money by adding more Apple Music subscriptions. And Steve Moser confirms that we are not experiencing the apocalypse right now. iOS 13.4.5 includes graphics for activity goals up until 2023. So rest assured, it's not over yet. And because of the iPhone 9 release date, I'd wager that we'll be seeing the release of iOS 13.4.5 either on Monday or Tuesday, so the 20th or 21st, ahead of the iPhone 9 launch on Wednesday. And the verifier mentions we're unlikely to see any major iOS 13 features being added before the launch of iOS 14 in September. So from here on out, pretty much only bug fixes, and they said they wouldn't be surprised if we go up until 13.4.4. Well, we're already at 13.4.5, so we could get up to 13.4.9, but they said it's unlikely we'll see an iOS 13.5. And digging further in iOS 13.4.5, 9to5Mac has discovered that this upcoming iPhone 9 will support the car key feature that we've been hearing about, and they've determined that the iPhone 9 will support Express Transit, and car key and that feature are interconnected. So the upcoming iPhone 9 will support Power Reserve, which is a feature necessary for car key to work without removing your iPhone from your pocket. They've also basically confirmed that not all iPhones will be supporting car key. And I found Input Magazine's article regarding the iPhone 9 release timing quite intriguing. They're saying that because of the outbreak, this device is the perfect device to become a hit, as it's cheap, people are simply not spending much money on flagships right now, and it would allow you to use your iPhone with a face mask on because of course it will be having Touch ID. And more iPhone cases are showing up in retailers, also spelling an imminent release. This UAG one showed up in Best Buy with the name 4.7-inch iPhone 2020. Brilliant name, because it would be much worse to guess a wrong name and then have that sitting on the shelf. Now it's unclear if iPhone 7 and 8 cases will fit the upcoming iPhone 9, but from what we hear it'll be 0.5 millimeters thicker, which means most should be compatible. And there's no word on whether or not Apple will be launching the iPhone 9 Plus, the 5.5-inch model, alongside this 4.7-inch model. And sent to me by a Twitter user, an iOS 14 leak, so from the CarPlay image, found in the iOS 14 build, the Music app has a new icon, or slightly tweaked. So take that as you will, but Apple is working on the icon changes slightly, at least on Music, and we already knew it wouldn't be a huge redesign, but this basically shows you that the icons will not be changing much at all. And Apple has purchased the Dark Sky Weather app client. It's the most accurate out there. They're removing the Android app, making it iOS exclusive, and of course, they're most likely going to be utilizing it for iOS 14, possibly building it in natively with iOS 14, and here's an interesting concept of how that could look. This is Parker Ortolanis. He's showing us how that could look natively integrated in iOS. I love it. The weather app really hasn't been tweaked much since its inception long ago. And in stark contrast to the reports we heard earlier regarding A14 chips and their production being delayed by 1 to 2 quarters, TSMC reportedly is saying they're on track, fully booked out to be producing these chips, and will produce them in a timely fashion for the fall iPhone launch. And DigiTimes is also reporting that multiple supply chain sources are claiming the rumors we heard about the iPhone being delayed past fall simply untrue, and they are on track to deliver their parts for the upcoming iPhone before fall. And Bloomberg chimed in saying the iPhone 12 production is on track. We'll be releasing this fall. Thank goodness. I'm glad that there's no delay. I want that iPhone 4 style design in my hands as soon as possible. They're saying it's going to be happening though at the sacrifice of other Apple products. So Apple is pooling all of the resources to make the iPhone 12 happen this fall, but as a result, many other Apple products will be getting pushed back and delayed. We don't know which ones though. And further evidence that all 2020 iPhones being launched this fall will have an organic LED display is the fact that Samsung is shutting down their LCD lines. Due to waning demand, Samsung is closing all manufacturing for LCD displays at the end of this year. The future is moving on, moving past LCD, and organic LED will be a standard even in mid-tier and lower-end phones eventually. And Bloomberg reports that even though many Apple employees are currently in quarantine, Apple continues to work with them from home, developing new products such as the HomePod, Apple TV, new MacBook Pro, budget iPads, the Apple Watch, iPhone, and iMac. So it's pretty much business as usual. Those devices still have to get developed, and we know that they're in the works. They say that iOS and macOS updates are still on time to be launched in June, the beta 1 version. Speaking of the iMac, Viktor Kadar, the guy that made that really awesome MacBook concept, has launched a new iMac concept. I'd like to know your thoughts about it. Personally, I don't think it would have a chin. Apple has already set a precedent with the new Pro XDR display, but a very well-made animation nonetheless. Max Weinbach does report a couple new features happening in iOS 14, including emotes in messages. So by default, iMessage will now support /emotes such as -me or italicizing text. So you'll be able to convey emotion better in messages using this new feature. Max Weinbach confirms that at WWDC, we'll be seeing Apple's new over-ear headphones. He refers to them as the AirPod headphones. As for AirTags, he's saying they're being discussed for WWDC, but are not confirmed just yet. And the new Apple TV still does not have a date. And Max Weinbach shared this video. It's the intro video for Find My in iOS 14. Just shows a retro rotating Apple logo. Interesting. And a new feature in iOS 14 I missed from earlier, 9to5Mac reports that in the Find My app, contacts can get new notification triggers if they don't arrive at a certain time, at a certain place, and if they leave that place too early, you can get a notification. Previously, you just get one when they got there. Now timing is being involved as well. And 9to5Mac reports there will be a new AR mode in the Find My app, where you'll be able to locate AirTags in certain locations more precisely. And another exciting Mac news, Ming-Chi Kuo is reporting that Apple will be launching a number of new Macs, including portables and desktop computers with ARM processors in 2021. He lists the advantages, saying that they will significantly make the Mac computer even more unique. The prices for the processors will be 40 to 60% less, so no more Intel gouging. Apple's refresh cycle for the Macs should get better, as they won't have to rely on Intel anymore, and this could bring more differentiation from Windows PCs. And he also mentions that USB 4, the protocol, which is essentially Thunderbolt 4, will be happening on Macs in 2022. So don't hold your breath on that one happening any sooner. And in a recent patent granted to Apple, Face ID is coming to the MacBook and iMac computer, probably all Macs in the future, as it only makes sense, and it could potentially be happening in the form of a notch. Although the patent does detail a notchless version of this technology, there is a notch in there as well, so hopefully they don't choose that option. And in a similar vein, upcoming iPads could have a notch, as a patent application shows a notch on the iPad Pro in landscape. The focus of this patent, though, is that Apple could be bringing the Face ID components to the horizontal orientation on the iPad Pro, which currently there's terrible support for. All right, guys, that's the latest. We've got a lot of exciting things happening. So psyched for iOS 14. Stay tuned for more. Peace.